Hello, my name is Rebecca, and my go to work presentation is Say No to Vaping. And so, first off, what is vaping? Vaping is the action or practice of inhaling and exhaling vapor containing nicotine and flavored products via a device designed for this purpose. And some history about the modern vaping uh, products are in 1963, Hubert Gilbert filed for the first electronic cigarette patent, and in 2003, Hong Lik developed the first Cigalite in China, which also started the modern vaping products, and he is pictured to the left of this slide with his Cigalite. And in 2004, the Cigalites made their way onto the Chinese markets in 2004. In 2007, other e-cigarettes, including the Cigalite and all the products that had made their way onto the United States market, was in 2007. And in 2015, the most common brand now, Juul, launched along with more addictive flavors that targeted younger audiences. In 2002, the FDA banned the sale and marketing of Juul in the United States, with the exception of methanol and tobacco-flavored e-juices. So a little bit of misconceptions and myth busting is that a lot of people think it's just water vapor, but it is not. It contains heavy metals, flavors, glycosine, many different drugs, including marijuana and tobacco and nicotine and CBD and a lot of different oil-based drugs because they are already in a liquid form. And a lot of people think that vaping has no health risks, but vaping has a lot more in terms of long-term knowledge. Vaping has a lot less evidence as it has only been on the market for less than 20 years. So there are no long-term studies yet as there are to smoking. And so it can cause weight loss, weight gain. It can cause enough damage to for a person to need one or both lungs transplanted. It can cause depression, anxiety, headaches, irritation, irritability, and a lot of the similar symptoms of smoking. So this is Juul's website in France. So in France, they have fewer regulations on flavors. So they have mango, mint, red berries, royal blend, and royal blonde, and menthol. And so in France, they have an 18 milligrams per milliliter nicotine percentage per pod. And so France's nicotine percentage per pod is less than the United States. So in the United States, we have the two flavors, Virginia tobacco and menthol. So there it comes in packs of 2 to 4 on the website, and with 2 different concentrations of 3% and 5%, with the 3% being 35 milligrams per milliliter and 59 milligrams per milliliter in the 5%. And so both websites limit their customers to 60 pods per month when purchased online. So if someone is purchasing and using those 60 pods per month with 2 per day on average and over 30 days, it will equal to 1,080 milligrams of nicotine per month in France, 2,100 milligrams per month on the 3% on the United States, and 3,540 milligrams per month in the United States for the 5 milligrams consumed per month. So why do young people start vaping? The most common reasons, there are other reasons than the ones listed, but the most common ones are peer pressure, role models, or family members around them that smoke or vape, the misunderstanding that it's safer than smoking, stress relief, believing that it looks cool to control or lose weight, the flavors and ads that are targeted at youth. So this is an ad campaign released by Juul from a couple years ago. But so they use the bright colors and the idea that these young people are having fun and these bright colors that attract youth, and because youth are attracted to that fun party kind of lifestyle that they advertise on TV shows and things, and that's kind of what they idealize. And so they are using that to target them with these ads. And also with e-juice companies, they will take a very recognizable name brand products and model their advertisement and packaging for the e-juices after these products. So we have Cool Whip that has the whipped flavored e-juice that looks very similar to the packaging, as well as Lucky Charms and an apple juice brand and Lifesaver gummies on this slide. So some of the dangers of vaping. So nicotine in one Juul pod is the equivalent to one pack of cigarettes, which is about 20 cigarettes in a package. It can cause lung cancer. It contains nicotine, which is an addictive drug. It can cause brain damage as the brain is not fully developed, and so the brain is still developing until age 25. And so nicotine causes the synapses to develop incorrectly, resulting in affecting the pathways of the brain that control learning and attention. It is a gateway drug addiction to other drugs in the future. And e-cigarettes that are marketed at 0% nicotine have been found to contain nicotine. So the synapses, so in the left-hand corner is the two axons where it's the two neurons in which the axons and the synapses as pictured below on the left side, the lower image. So that is the synapses receptors. And so when nicotine is consumed, it damages those in a way that it causes the synapses to not send the proper signals, in which it's kind of like a game of telephone where you're telling your brain to do one thing and then it does the opposite thing or something different than it was originally intended to do, as the synapses are not sending the proper signals. And more dangers are that they have found to contain heavy metals including lead, nickel, arsenic, and magnesium. It is unknown the long-term effects due to e-cigarettes because they've only been on the market since 2003. Cause collapsed lungs with needing one or both lung transplant surgery. And it can cause respiratory illnesses and diseases such as pneumonia, asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is where the bronchial tubes will it's built up where the air will not fully come through sometimes. Some signs of vaping. So some of the physical signs many of them are very similar to what smokers exhibit. So shortness of breath, nausea and vomiting, skin damage, sleep deprivation, seizures, dry and or bloodshot eyes, bloody nose or smoker cough, and reduction of caffeine consumption. So because nicotine is a stimulant, and so caffeine is also a stimulant, and where it negates the need for caffeine because they're giving the stimulation from the nicotine. And some other signs are irrational behavior, increased anxiety, increased irritability, finding pens or USB devices do not look normal, residue on glass, the room suddenly smelling like candy or other flavors even though they are not present, and poor academic and athletic help. So the residue, since it is not just water vapor, when someone is vaping near a glass, the vapor will stick to the windows or the glass and it will create a film residue that can be left behind. And then the smell of candies and other flavors is because of the flavors, they smell like what they taste like. So diet is not just about what you eat. So diet is anything that you consume throughout the day, which could be social media, videos, people around you, and the way that they talk about themselves, the way in the way that you talk about yourself and the way others speak about you and the way that you speak of others is one way that it can is what your diet can consist of, and as well as food as well, and also what you consume in the media, as well as like television programs or anything you watch on social media. So, some ways of dealing with peer pressure. So, ask yourself if you should be surrounding yourself with these people and if they're someone that you aspire to be. Compliment yourself daily. This could be writing something on a post-it note, like you can get these little ones or some bigger ones, or you can get these super cute little uh, like little animal ones, just make it fun, and you can write little affirmations on them. And then it is okay to distance yourself from people and friends who are negatively affecting you. Find something that you are passionate about. Focus on this when you are stressed or to reduce anxiety. Learn to say no, especially when they continue to pressure you into doing something. So the passion, uh, so like some people like to work out, or most people like to find a creative outlet, which is like drawing, painting, something like that. But some people like to work out, and so like it does increase like blood pressure and all those things. But like people find it relieving to do something productive that helps them. So, what parents can do to help? So, you can encourage them to make smart and healthy choices. Get to know the people that they are friends with and who they surround themselves with. Create a safe environment at home with an open line of communication between you and your child. Encourage them to distance themselves from negative influences and people who pressure them to make bad choices. And listen to concerns and provide positive reassurance for them. The different types of devices include, so there are 4 different types of devices with different subgroups. So the main types are the cigarettes, vape pens, vape pods, and tank or mod models. They're also closed and open system. So an open system is where you're not required to refill a tank or heating coil, and the flavors can be changed by not replacing by replacing the non-refillable e-juice pod. And closed system is where the tank is required to be refilled, and larger sections. There are larger selections of flavors in these ones, as well as the tanks must be emptied and refilled with a flavor before you can swap flavors. So cigarettes were the first of the modern ones to come out on the market. Uh, so cigarettes, as their name states, these are vaping devices that have a very similar appearance to cigarettes. And so there are also cigar-looking ones that look like cigars, as well as one that looks like pipes. They're often disposable. There are some rechargeable ones, but they're typically one use only. So vape pens are battery-powered tubes that are used to inhale aerosolized nicotine flavors and other chemicals. They're open system, refillable tank, and replaceable cartridge, and Juul devices fall into this category. So vape pods are rechargeable devices that can be reused by replacing the old oil pods with new ones, so they're closed system, and Juul also falls into these ones. So this is the diagram of Juul pod. So the main reason it is so common and popular, which because it is currently over 50% of the current demand of all the current e-cigarettes. So the main reason is because of the size. And so it's also very simple design. So the paws on the top are easily swapped out. And then the main part is only about 3.5 inches long. Like the whole thing is only 3.5 inches long because of the size. And so it's very easily slipped into pockets. And it looks like a long USB like stick. So, and then the charging port is a USB port with a small opening that the device can be plugged into the bottom of it. And so, as you can see in the diagram, it is 3.5 inches long, making it very small and very easy to slip into pockets or just hidden anywhere very easily. So tank mods are more boxy, and they have a heating coil that powers which causes to heat it up and vaporize the liquid in the tank, and is exposed and is pulled out through the exposed mouthpiece. They're rechargeable. There's an on and off button, and they're an open system. So some hidden devices. So a lot of these are very common looking items, or they are hidden to disguise as common items. So the first one is a vape pod storage case that looks almost identical to an AirPod case, which could be hidden as a pair of AirPods. The second one is a smartwatch device where the head of the device, so some of these ones, the face of the watch will come out of the band, and then that's the device. And then other ones, it'll have it on the side where they could just like with the device. And then the chisel point Sharpies are big enough to take out the insides of the marker and replace it with the jewel pod to hide it. And then some other ones are these hoodies where the e-juice is hidden inside, and then the tubing connects to the end of the tie where the vape device is. There are also backpack ones where they look like the hydro packs that you would see runners wear with the water in them. And the mouthpiece is identical to how the straw would come out through the side, and then that's how the device is. And then the last image on this slide is the dual device port. So this is the charging port, and so the case goes over that, so it looks just like a very small USB port with the a black little USB drive. Okay, so this Surin vape device looks almost identical to the Neo Drinks drops in terms of shape. And there are also ones that look identical to inhalers. So on the left is the inhaler, and on the right is the Puffet brand vape device. And they are used almost identically to how inhalers work. And so this is the diagram of how a Puffet works, but on the right side of the diagram, there is a temperature gauge. So the ideal temperature for a vape device is between 378 degrees Fahrenheit and 455 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on the device. So for reference, water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So when you are inhaling the vapor, you are scalding the inside of your mouth and lungs and trachea and bronchial tubes and everything that goes through your lungs, and you're basically boiling yourself from the inside. So there are some, they're mild, but for some people they might be graphic. So as of February 18th in 2020, there were 2,807 hospitalizations and 68 deaths due to vaping-related injuries and disease. So, and that was just in the United States as of 2020, and that has since gone up. So Daniel Ammett was a Michigan teen in 2020. He received a dual lung transplant after severe damage due to vaping. And so you can see how that could be that will permanently be a scar across his chest because of that. And so there was also Grace Brassel, who was a university student at the University of Delaware, who suffered from spontaneous pneumothorax, which is the sudden collapse of a lung with no apparent reason. So her lung collapsed suddenly, and so vaping may not have been the main cause of her injury, but she did state that it did not help her injury, and nor did it help to prevent it from happening, and it likely did play a role in it causing this injury. So this was a video that I took. Okay, it's not gonna, is it? Okay, it's not gonna play for us. But so as you can see on the left side, the one that he is holding is a smoker's lung, and on the right is a healthy lung. So on the left, the one that he is currently holding, so there is cancerous tissue and buildup, and so that there on the white spot on the top of that lung so the white spot on the top of the left lung of the smoker's lungs, that is a tumor. And so when he blows it up, it causes it to, you can see how he blows it up in the initial one, where the right one of that lung will blow up, but the left one does not. And so you can see how when you blow it up, the bottom part of the left lung does not inflate. And you can see how there are chunks of healthy lung surrounded by the smoke. And so this is the healthy pair of lungs, and it's very squishy and soft, and you can see how the lungs will fully inflate as they are supposed to, and that this is how healthy lungs are supposed to inflate. So ways to stop vaping if you already are define what is motivating you to vape, such as looking cool, stress relief, weight control. Set a date to quit, so this allows you to hold yourself accountable and to commit to a date. Identify what triggers your cravings. This could be your environment, people that the specific people that encourage you to do it for social reasons, and the smell or flavor of a particular flavor that you were using. So build a support system, so friends and family who encourage you to make positive decisions and who support you in quitting, as well as don't be too hard on yourself. So if you slip up one day, you can start again the next day and determine what you did wrong in your initial strategy to quit, and you can make amends to the plan and set yourself up for success. So a disclaimer on that, these steps may seem simple, but it's a lot more difficult for people to quit because of addiction in these circumstances, so it is extremely hard for people to quit smoking and vaping. And each person is different in that. So one way that it could be that, like, because you may find one strategy that worked for one person, but it may not work for the other part. Maybe a part of that plan worked for another person, but it may not for anyone else. So ways that parents can help is to support, not scold. Have an open line of communication and seek outside help when needed, such as counselors, doctors, and other medical professionals. Research effects that stopping vaping can do, such as nicotine withdrawal. Research methods to stop vaping. Not all methods will work for everyone. And to help them determine their craving triggers and help them to distance themselves from them, and if there are any people that are involved with those triggers. So these are some other useful links. So The Truth is the one that creates most of the ads that people see on television and through all the other streaming services that they buy the ad time on. The Stanford Medical School has a very extensive amount of research done so far on these short-term effects and are starting to move towards trying to simulate long-term effects of vaping. And the Texas Department of State Health Services has pages of other vaping resources, as well as a lot of, by doing a simple Google search, you can find a lot of information, and by using Google Scholar, you can find a lot of research papers as well. You can unmute and ask questions if you have any.
Hi, I just wanted to tell you it was very informative, and I thought you did a really good job.
Thank you.
Especially the visuals, because when you were comparing the actual vapes to products people can buy at the grocery store, I was even surprised. I could not believe.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. What made you choose this topic?
So it was a variety. So I was between two different projects initially, but I ended up going with this one after I lost my uncle due to smoking, and I didn't want anyone else to lose anyone else. So.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
Oh, Maggie was listening too.
That's good.
Thank you.
If y'all could please fill out this survey.
Oh.
Did I put it in the chat?
Yeah, you did. Well,
Okay.
she'll scan it.
Yeah. If y'all could please fill out that survey for both of y'all. if both of y'all could do it, because it's like 2 separate ones. So,
Okay, got it.
Okay. I'll do it after she does.
okay.
Thank
you.
you. Uh-huh. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching my presentation. Linked below will be all the further other documentation that I have, and any documents that I've created along with this presentation will be linked. And in the presentation that will be linked, there will be another presentation and survey. So if you would please be willing to fill that out, and it will also be linked below. So thank you very much.